What is happening, people, and welcome to this week's video where we are sat down in a nice cozy room as if we are best mates, and I'm going to talk to you about the 5 biggest mistakes that I made when I started training. I'm 26 years old. I've been training for 11 years in total. I've lifted a few weights in my time, so I like to think I know what I'm doing. The first thing that I did that I shouldn't have done is training too frequently and training with too much volume. When I first started training, I absolutely fell in love with the gym. I was like, this is great, this is crazy, I just want to train all the time. And I thought that the more that I trained, the more gains I would have. It's simple as, like, if I want to get bigger, I'm just gonna have to train more. Like, all these bodybuilders are talking about training like 8 days a week and for 26 hours a day. That's what I needed to do. At one point, I hit legs 3 times a week, like heavy ass squats 3 times a week. I used to do like 10 sets of 10, and at the end of the day, it did nothing for me other than held me back. There's gonna be a point where the amount of reps and sets that you're doing, the volume, any more than that is not gonna be beneficial whatsoever. It's gonna be trash volume or junk volume because you're not gonna be recovering. When you recover, when you sleep, is when you grow. When you repair the muscle, that's how hypertrophy occurs. So I would say for the vast majority of people, 4 to 6 times a week is probably an optimal way to train. Like 6 times maybe a little bit too much, 4 times, 5 times probably quite good. If you can only train for 3 or 4 days, say, that's completely fine, but I consider doing something like an upper lower split or a full body split. And then if you can get like 5, 6 days, if you really want to train for 6 days, you love it and you're a genetic freak, then something like pull push legs is good. But when you do train, you don't want to train with too much volume, so reps and sets. As a rule of thumb, you want to be doing 20 to 25 sets per muscle group per week. If you're training super high intensity, the lower end of that, if you're leaving reps in reserve or not going to a failure, which I don't recommend for the vast majority of people. At the minute, what I actually do is I do 2 days on, 1 day off, and rotate 2 days on, 1 day off, because I find it's really good for recovery. And then when I actually train, I'll only do, in an exercise, I'll only do 2 sets in that exercise, maybe 3 sometimes. And then overall, training with a lot more intensity, but I'm training with a lot less volume, so reps and sets as well. If you want to train like me with high intensity and see my programming and how I kind of do things, there's a free aesthetic physique program in the link down below. Completely for free. Program, just follow it week by week. Absolutely slaps. Pretty similar to what I'm doing right now. Get involved. Mistake number 2 that I made was you go into the gym and then you get chatting to this guy that's been going to the gym for like 40 years, and he's like, bro, if you want to tone up, if you want to cut, what you want to do is you want to do super high reps. You want to be doing like 20 to 5 reps. It tones you up, it shreds off the fat, and you're going to look like absolutely peeled in no time. That is utter, complete fucking bullshit, quite frankly. So changing the amount of reps and sets that you're doing, whether you're bulking or cutting, is not a good idea. It's not a good thing to do. If anything, you want to train with more intensity, so closer to failure when you're going through a cutting phase, because it's going to be so important to retain that muscle when you're in a calorie deficit, when you're going to be losing weight. Studies have looked at muscle growth for hypertrophy, and they've found that groups that do 8 to 12 reps versus 25 to 35 reps elicit the exact same amount of hypertrophy, or they see the same amount of growth in terms of muscle. The only difference is if you're doing those higher rep ranges, 25 to 35, it's going to be a lot harder to recover from. So long term, you might actually inhibit your gains slightly from going super high with the rep ranges, because it's gonna put you close to failure. Hence, when I train, I do 1 set where I'm about 6 to 8 reps, a top set, and I do a back off set around 12 to 15 reps. After that top set, obviously I rest in between, and then that's a top set and a back off set. Both of those sets are till failure, but I'm covering all those rep ranges as well. Just stick to that like 6 to 15 rep range. Those are kind of the sweet spots, and do whatever you want to do or works for you, or follow my completely free program. Thing number 3 that I wish I did earlier was buy Hanley, who are the sponsor of today's video. Put a little shiny thing on my tooth, Ben. If you're watching this video, you're probably male and you probably want to improve yourself physically, so why wouldn't you take care of your skin when you do that as well? Hanley makes skincare products for men. It's something I actually did wish I implemented when I was younger, because my skin used to be awful. Getting a skincare routine and eating better food and drinking more water was one of the things that really sorted out my skin, but I do kind of wish I did this when I was younger. So Hanley makes skincare products for men by men. Every box comes with everything that you need for a full skincare routine. You get one of these little cards that tells you exactly how to use all the products. First thing that you do in the morning when you get up, you go for a pee, you weigh yourself, and then you wash your face with the facial wash. Then you put on the AM moisturizer, then you go about your day and you put on the PM moisturizer before bed. If you want to exfoliate your skin, it comes with a facial scrub as well. It's used once a week. Basically, this box contains everything that you need to get your skin looking absolutely beautiful. If you want to get involved, click the link down below in the description. You can get a free gift of your first order and money off, which is absolutely rad. Link down below. Get involved. Hanley, thank you very much for sponsoring this video. You guys are G's. I want to say as well that if I put a integration situation like this in the video, I will reduce the amount of ads in the video. So I'll make sure there's no more than one ad at the start of the video going into it, just so you guys aren't like bombarded with ads. Because I do feel a little bit bad sometimes, but it is literally like, this is my job. Like, this is how I make money. Number 3, overcomplicating diet and training. Like really, really getting overwhelmed, looking into the science of things, making sure you're having exactly 3.7 grams of highly branched cyclic dextrin before your session, and you're over the leucine threshold for protein with every meal. You don't need to overcomplicate things, and it seems massively overwhelming, and it can seem very hard that everyone's telling you different things, but there are a few things that you should follow, and if you follow these things, you are 100% guaranteed to make progress in the right direction. Training, focus on progressive overload. Focus on lifting more weight or doing more reps during your sets. Every single week, try and put a little bit more weight on the bar. What I like to do is, if I'm working at a 6 to 8 rep range, what I'll do is I'll start at a rep range where the weight only allows me to do 6 reps, and then next week I'll try and get 7 reps. I'll try and get 8 reps of that same weight, and then after 3 weeks, when I'm at 8 reps on that same weight, I'll then increase the weight and start the little cycle within that rep range again. So make sure you are progressing. If you are progressively overloading, if you're increasing the weight, if you're doing more output, then that has to come from somewhere. So it's a pretty good indicator that you are gaining muscle if you are doing more reps, if you're lifting more weight. That's like a really, really good one. I don't want to overcomplicate it, but the most important way or thing to do when doing this is track your workouts, lads. Like, track your workouts. Get on an app such as Rep Count or Strong. Why do you think you progress so much when you have a good training partner versus training alone? It's because, like, if you're competitive, you got that ego, you're training with your best mate, you're like, I'm gonna lift more than you, and you push each other every single week. You push each other to progressively overload. You're in like a constant competition with each other. Then if you're training on your own, you will slack off a little bit. So if you want to look the same and make no progress at the gym, then don't track your workouts. If you actually want to improve and grow muscle and improve your physique, then you need to be tracking your workouts. And what you can do is to make sure that you're getting that progression on those lifts every single week. Diet and nutrition, you do not want to overcomplicate that. So focus on 2 things. Number 1 is protein intake, around 1 gram per pound of lean body weight. Just make sure that every meal that you have is a proper meal with a source of protein in it. So I'm getting coached at the minute. I'm eating around 200 grams, but normally eat around 180 grams of protein. There's no need for loads of protein, but you do need enough protein. And number 2 is make sure that you're getting enough calories in as well. So if you're trying to bulk, if you're trying to grow, you need to be consistently hitting those calories every single day. Maybe that requires you to track your food or make yourself a meal plan. If you're trying to lose weight, then you also want to track your calories, because it actually allows you to eat more calories. And then what you can do is you can reduce the calories slightly if you don't lose enough weight, and then gradually bring them down. And what it's going to do is it's going to mean that you're not going to be hungry, you're not going to binge, you're going to be in a place where the diet is sustainable. Number 4 is shocking the body. You got to shock the body right, babe. Rich Piano reference, RIP, absolute legend. You don't actually have to shock the body. Like, this is a common misconception. You don't actually have to shock the body. And it's like, I would go to the gym and think that I'd have to do like supersets and drop sets and all these different exercises and all these different things to shock the body and to trick my body into growing and not adapting to the stimulus. Like, shock the body actually comes from progressive overload. Like, this is correct in the sense that you want to be lifting more weight to shock the body and stimulate growth, but you don't have to be doing all these crazy things. Like, for example, if I look in the mirror and I go, ah, that's not going to do anything. That's not funny. So shocking the body isn't actually a thing. Doing all these different exercises might actually be detrimental. So I'd say stick to a few base exercises, and then you just focus on getting stronger with those exercises. And then when you no longer progress on an exercise, there's going to be a point where your body adapts to it and you don't progress, then switch out the exercise for something similar. It's literally as simple as that. But you shouldn't be changing everything and overhauling everything week by week. It's just more complicated, and it means that you're not going to be able to track the progress that you're making on that individual exercise. So shocking the body is BS. Thing number 5 that I didn't do and you should definitely do is enjoy yourself, man. Like, live your life. Your teens and your 20s are some of the best years of your life. I'm a strong believer in, like, the time on is time on. So when you're in the gym, make sure you're fucking smashing it. Make sure you're working hard. Make sure you're training with intensity. But then when you're not in the gym, when your mates ask if you want to go for a meal or you want to go and go for a few drinks with the boys or a barbecue, whatever it is, don't be saying no because of the gym. It's going to be fine. It's not the end of the world. Or if you do go out and you get smashed and you binge drink, then just make sure that your training isn't affected for the following days. But yeah, that was a video on the 5 things that I wish I knew, the 5 mistakes that I made, 5 things that I think you shouldn't do if you want to actually make good progress and get somewhere with the gym. If you think I missed anything, if there's any advice that you would give in terms of things that you did, maybe stupid shit that you wish you didn't do, drop it down below. I read all the comments within the first like 24 to 48 hours, and I'll come back and check on the video as well and get back to as many people as I can. Drop it a like if you liked it, and drop it a comment if you want to please the almighty algorithm gods who love comments, and subscribe if you haven't already. Right, people, I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace out. I love you to bits. Thank you. Good night.